Discipline vs. motivation. Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in everyone's life when you've gotta ask yourself a hard question. Am I depending on how I feel, or am I doing what I said I'd do? You see, motivation is beautiful. It's that spark, that fire. It gets your heart pumping and your dreams dancing. But let me tell you something. Motivation is a mood, and moods change. One day you're fired up, and the next you're curled up. One moment you feel like conquering the world, and the next you can't even conquer your alarm clock. Now here's where discipline steps in. Discipline is that voice that says, I don't care how you feel, get it done anyway. It's not flashy. It doesn't come with fireworks or loud music, but it's there day in, day out. It's the quiet soldier of success, and without it, motivation is just noise. Napoleon Hill once said, persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel. Discipline is that persistence. It's what you do after the feeling is gone, when the applause fades, when nobody's watching, and when the only one left to believe in you is you. Let me paint a picture for you. You're motivated to get in shape. You buy the gear, you sign up for the gym, you even post about it. Day 1, you're pumped. Day 2, still going strong. But then day 10 rolls around, and guess what? You're sore, you're tired, it's cold outside. Motivation, gone, but discipline laces up those shoes. Discipline gets up when it's easier to sleep in. Discipline says, I have a goal, and my actions will match it. Motivation is a guest. Discipline is a resident. Les Brown said, you gotta be hungry. And he's right, but staying hungry takes more than desire. It takes decisions, daily decisions, because discipline is a decision you repeat until it becomes who you are. You want to be great, want to build something that outlives you, then you can't wait for inspiration. You must act when it's boring. You must show up when it's hard. You must deliver when you don't feel like it. Champions aren't born in moments of hype. They're made in the hours no one claps for. So here's the truth. Motivation may start the race, but only discipline crosses the finish line. You don't need to feel good to do good. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a made-up mind. You're capable, you're powerful, you're full of potential, but none of that matters if you don't discipline yourself to unlock it. Let motivation light the match, but let discipline keep the fire burning. Here are 5 keynotes. 1. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fuel. 2. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. 3. Success is built in the boring, not the hype. 4. Discipline acts regardless of feelings. 5. Champions are consistent, not just inspired. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fuel. That spark feels good, doesn't it? It's that sudden rush when an idea hits you, when you hear a powerful speech, or when you imagine a better version of your life. Motivation gets your heart racing. It makes you want to jump out of bed and take on the world. It's that voice in your head shouting, let's go. And honestly, we all love that feeling. Who doesn't want to feel pumped up and driven? But here's the problem. That spark doesn't last. It fizzles, it fades, and when the mood shifts, when life gets hard, that loud voice turns into a whisper, or worse, it goes completely silent. That's when most people quit. That's when gym memberships turn into forgotten cards, business ideas get buried in notebooks, and dreams go back to sleep because they were running on motivation alone. Now, discipline is different. It doesn't care about feelings. It doesn't wait for the right time. Discipline doesn't need music to get started or applause to keep going. It shows up every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Motivation may light the fire in you, but discipline keeps that fire burning when the wind blows, when the rain comes, when no one else believes. Discipline says, I will, when motivation says, I might. It's the decision to follow through, not just once, but again and again. People who rely on motivation often live in bursts, starting fast, stopping just as quickly, but those who lean on discipline build momentum, they build habits, they build strength one step at a time, brick by brick. They understand that showing up matters more than feeling ready. That's why the most successful people in the world aren't always the most motivated. They're the most consistent. They don't need hype to work hard. They've trained their minds to obey, not negotiate. They don't chase excitement. They create results because they know that the real engine of progress isn't how much you want it in the moment, but how willing you are to push forward even when everything in you says, not today. Discipline turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. It doesn't shout, it just works. It builds the kind of momentum that motivation alone can't handle. Motivation fades, discipline stays. That's the cold truth most people don't want to face. When you first start something new, may be a workout plan, a business idea, or a study routine, you're full of energy. You're excited, pumped, ready to conquer the world. That initial rush is motivation working its magic. It's a powerful force, no doubt, but here's the catch: motivation is temporary. It's like a wave that lifts you up, but it eventually crashes back down. You can feel motivated when everything is smooth, when you're healthy, rested, and everything's going your way. But what happens when life throws curveballs? When you're tired, stressed, or facing setbacks? Motivation isn't reliable in those moments. It's fragile, unpredictable, and honestly, it often disappears when you need it the most. And that's why so many people give up halfway. They wait for motivation to come back, but it doesn't. Instead, they feel stuck, discouraged, and ready to quit. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't fade. It's not a feeling or a mood. It's a choice. A commitment you make to yourself. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward even when motivation is long gone. It's the voice that says, I'm going to do this because I said I would. It doesn't care if you feel like it or not. Discipline shows up rain or shine, tired or energized. It's consistent. Think about the people you admire. The ones who have achieved big things. They didn't rely on motivation alone. They relied on discipline. They kept going when motivation disappeared. They built habits that didn't depend on how they felt in the moment. They understood that progress comes from steady effort, not bursts of enthusiasm. The key to success is building that discipline muscle. It's not easy at first. It takes practice to do things even when you don't want to, but the more you do it, the stronger your discipline becomes. Over time, discipline creates a foundation that motivation can't shake. It becomes part of who you are. When motivation fades, and it will, you'll still have discipline to carry you through. You'll still have the strength to take the next step, keep showing up, and push past the hard days. That's the difference between quitting and winning. Success is built in the boring, not the hype. That's a hard pill to swallow because we're all drawn to the exciting moments, the big wins, the celebrations, the spotlight. We want the flashy parts of success, the stories that inspire, the moments that make us feel alive and proud. But here's the real deal: those moments are rare. They're like fireworks, bright, loud, and gone in seconds. The real work, the true foundation of success, happens in the quiet, unnoticed hours. Most people don't want to admit it, but success is mostly about showing up day after day and doing the small, boring things that nobody talks about. It's waking up early when you'd rather stay in bed. It's grinding through the tough, repetitive tasks that don't make headlines. It's choosing the long-term gain over short-term comfort. This kind of work doesn't make you feel like a hero right away. It doesn't bring instant gratification or viral attention. Instead, it builds character, skill, and momentum slowly but surely. The hype is tempting, it's motivating and fun, but it's not sustainable. If you rely only on hype, you'll burn out fast. That initial excitement runs out, and when it does, you're left with your habits, and habits are what carry you through the boring parts. Successful people know this. They embrace the mundane because they understand that consistent, disciplined effort in those moments leads to breakthroughs. Think about anyone you admire. Their stories aren't just about the moment they won or achieved something big. They're about the countless hours nobody saw, the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the times they pushed through when nobody was watching. That's where success is born, not in a single aha moment, but in the slow, steady work that turns dreams into reality. The boring parts test your commitment. They separate those who talk about success from those who actually earn it. When you learn to love the process, even when it's dull or frustrating, you build an unstoppable mindset. You stop chasing hype and start chasing progress, and that's where the magic happens. Success isn't a highlight reel. It's a marathon of patience, persistence, and showing up even when the excitement fades. The boring work lays the groundwork for those moments of hype to come. It's where champions are truly made. Discipline acts regardless of feelings. This idea is simple but powerful. Too often, people wait for the right feeling before they take action. They say, "I'll work out when I feel motivated," or "I'll study when I'm in the mood." The truth is, feelings are unpredictable. They come and go like the weather. You can't rely on them to get things done. Discipline is different because it doesn't depend on how you feel. It's a choice you make, not a feeling you wait for. When discipline steps in, it says, "I'm going to do this because it needs to be done." It doesn't ask, "Do I feel like it?" or "Is this convenient?" It just gets to work. Discipline is what pushes you to show up, even when you're tired, frustrated, or just plain not in the mood. Imagine a musician practicing every day. Some days they might feel inspired and excited, but other days they might feel tired or distracted. If they waited to practice only when they felt like it, their skills wouldn't improve. But because they have discipline, they practice consistently. That's why they get better and better over time. Discipline creates habits, and habits shape our lives. When you build disciplined habits, you don't have to rely on willpower or motivation as much. You just do what needs to be done because it's become part of who you are. This is how success builds, one action after another, day by day. Feelings can trick you into thinking that if you're not in the mood, you shouldn't work hard, but discipline knows better. It knows that waiting for the perfect feeling is just an excuse. You don't have to feel like it to take the next step. You just have to decide. When you make discipline your guide, you take control. You stop being a passenger riding the ups and downs of your emotions. Instead, you steer the ship. You make progress no matter what's going on inside you. That's powerful because it means you're not at the mercy of your feelings anymore. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. It's the steady force that carries you through when motivation fades, doubt creeps in, or distractions pull you away. When discipline leads, you keep moving forward, even on the days when you don't want to. Champions are consistent, not just inspired. We often hear stories about moments of inspiration, the lightning strike that changes everything, but those moments alone don't make champions. What separates the winners from the rest is not just the fire that burns bright in a single moment, but the steady flame that refuses to go out. It's the ability to keep showing up day after day, even when the excitement fades. Consistency is what builds mastery. You don't become great overnight or after one big effort. It takes repeated actions over and over, even when it feels repetitive or boring. Champions don't wait for inspiration to strike every time they need to work hard. They don't just train when they're pumped up or excited. Instead, they develop routines and habits that keep them moving forward regardless of how they feel. Inspiration is like a spark, but consistency is the steady fuel that keeps the engine running. When you're consistent, you create momentum, momentum that carries you through tough times, setbacks, and plateaus. It's easy to be motivated when things are going well, but being consistent means you keep going when things get difficult or when progress seems slow. That's when real growth happens. Consistency also builds trust with yourself and with others. When you consistently put in the work, you start believing in your own ability to follow through. That confidence grows stronger with every small victory. Others notice too. They see you as reliable and committed. This kind of trust and reputation opens doors and creates opportunities that motivation alone can't. The world loves stories about overnight success, but the reality is much different. Most success stories are years, even decades, in the making. They're filled with countless hours of consistent work that no one else saw. Those small, everyday efforts add up to big results. The people who win are the ones who keep grinding, even when nobody is watching or cheering. Consistency is about showing up with purpose, no matter what. It's about honoring your commitments to yourself even when you don't feel inspired. When you choose consistency, you build a foundation so strong that even setbacks can't shake it. That foundation is what turns dreams into achievements.